Stop for a moment. Look at the life around you, the buildings that tower over the streets, the bridges that connect cities, the devices in your hand that hold the knowledge of the world. None of them existed until a single thought gave them birth. Every invention, every fortune, every empire started first as a whisper in the mind of a man or woman who dared to believe. This is the secret of the millionaires, and it is a secret hidden in plain sight. They understand that riches are not first measured in dollars, gold, or real estate. They are measured in thoughts, disciplined, controlled, and magnified until the world is forced to bow before them. Most people drift through life as though their mind is a ship without a captain. They surrender to doubt. They let fear steer them into storms. They accept the currents of circumstance as though destiny had already been written. But the millionaires, no, the creators of fortunes, know better. They know that the first fortune is built inside the mind. They guard their thoughts with the same intensity a king guards his crown. They do not allow the weeds of negativity to grow where their vision must flourish. Think of Edison, who failed 10,000 times before a filament burned with light. Each failure could have been a tombstone, but he carried within him a thought so strong, so unshakable, that the world itself bent to his persistence. Or Carnegie, a boy in poverty, who looked at steel not as cold iron, but as the very bloodline of modern civilization, building an empire that outlived his years. They did not ask whether the world approved. They asked whether their vision was clear enough, their desire hot enough, their discipline fierce enough. So I ask you, how do you think? Not what you say to others, not what mask you wear in the daylight, but what voice rules the silent chamber of your mind when no one else can hear, because that voice is your true master. If it tells you that you cannot, then you will not. If it tells you that you are destined for smallness, you will shrink to fit the prophecy. But if it commands that you are born for greatness, that you will not rest until fortune bows at your feet, then the world will yield. The mind is not a playground, it is a battlefield. Millionaires win because they fight that battle daily. They refuse to let toxic thoughts remain longer than a moment. They train themselves to see opportunity where others see obstacles. They practice belief until it becomes as natural as breathing. This is why fortunes multiply in their hands. They are living magnets, drawing resources, people, and possibilities toward the force of their unwavering vision. And here lies the first law. You become what you think about most of the time. If you think about scarcity, you will live in scarcity. If you think about fear, fear will master you. But if you think about wealth, if you breathe in success as though it is the very oxygen you need to survive, then the universe itself conspires to place opportunities in your path. Call it law of attraction, call it faith, call it psychology. It matters not. The truth is undeniable. Thoughts become things, but thought alone is not enough. Desire must burn hot enough to consume every excuse. Think of Henry Ford, who was told his idea of a V8 engine was impossible. Engineers shook their heads, experts laughed, but Ford's mind was locked. He told them, build it anyway. And when they failed, he told them again, build it anyway. For months, then years, until the impossible became reality, and the automobile carried his name into history. That is the discipline of thought, the refusal to surrender until reality bends to your vision. Most will never understand this. They will mock it, call it luck, dismiss it as privilege. But look deeper. Millionaires are not ordinary minds. They do not rise because of chance. They rise because they control the one thing most people ignore, their inner world. And when the inner world is mastered, the outer world obeys. So begin with your morning, because morning is the forge of destiny. Millionaires do not wake as prisoners of the alarm clock, dragging their bodies like slaves to the demands of others. They rise as warriors, knowing the first hours are sacred. They feed their mind before they feed their body. They command their emotions before the world can. They set their vision fresh, sharp as a blade, so that when distractions come, and they will come, they are cut down swiftly. If you wake and surrender to chaos, your day becomes chaos. But if you wake and declare, this day bends to my will, this mind belongs to my vision, this life is my creation, then you move with a force that ordinary men cannot understand. And make no mistake, Fortune favors the one who is prepared, disciplined, and relentless. You want wealth? Then stop asking how to get money and start asking how to become the kind of person money is drawn to. Millionaires are not chasing, they are attracting. Their confidence, their clarity, their obsession with purpose pulls opportunity into their orbit. While others scroll endlessly, while others complain, while others wait for the right time, they are creating, acting, moving forward with such speed that hesitation cannot catch them. It begins with a decision. Not a wish, not a half-hearted promise, but a decision so absolute that the universe has no choice but to respond. Lincoln decided the Union would not perish, though civil war ripped the nation apart. Disney decided that imagination could be turned into a kingdom, even when banks laughed in his face. Decisions like these are lightning strikes. They ignite fires that cannot be put out. And you, yes, you, hold the same spark. It is not reserved for the chosen few. It is not locked in vaults guarded by privilege. It is within your mind right now, waiting for you to summon it with courage and discipline. The millionaires you admire are not gods. They are men and women who learn to command themselves, to master their mornings, their thoughts, their actions. Ask yourself, will you think like the masses, drifting in doubt, surrendering your life to chance? Or will you think like the millionaires, seizing each day with clarity, burning with desire, and refusing to stop until your vision becomes flesh and blood? The choice is yours. Millionaire thinking is not built on chance, it is built on belief. Belief is the raw material out of which every dream is forged. Without belief, no plan can stand, no action can sustain, no vision can survive the weight of resistance. Look back at history and you will see that belief is the one common denominator among those who carved their names into eternity. Belief is what carried Abraham Lincoln through years of defeat before he ever won an election worth mentioning. Belief is what kept Thomas Edison pushing when the darkness of failure surrounded him thousands of times. Belief is what allowed Andrew Carnegie, a boy working in a cotton factory for pennies a day, to rise into a titan of industry. These men were not stronger, not luckier, not even necessarily smarter than those around them. They were simply possessed by an unshakable conviction that what they envisioned was already theirs. This is the key. Millionaires think in terms of certainty, not doubt. When they decide upon a goal, they do not leave space in their mind for hesitation. They burn the bridges to retreat, leaving only one direction open, forward. They carry within them a clarity so sharp it cuts through every obstacle. They understand that the world does not reward the tentative or the timid. It bows to those who act as if their success is inevitable. And this is where most people fail. They wait for permission. They wait for perfect conditions. They wait for someone to validate their dream before they dare to chase it. Millionaires do the opposite. They validate their dream with their own belief. They declare it will be so, and then they act until the world has no choice but to acknowledge their vision. But belief without clarity is like fire without direction. It burns everything, but creates nothing. Millionaire thinking begins by defining precisely what is desired. Not a vague hope, not a general wish, but a crystal clear target. If you desire wealth, you must know how much, by when, and for what purpose. If you desire freedom, you must define what that freedom looks like, how you will live, how you will serve, how you will use your time. Clarity is the blueprint of destiny. Without it, desire wanders aimlessly. With it, desire becomes an architect, building reality from thought. Think of Walt Disney, who carried the vision of Disneyland when all he had was sketches and imagination. To others, it looked like fantasy. To him, it was clear, detailed, alive. He could see the castle before a single stone was laid. He could hear the laughter of children before the gates were ever built. That clarity allowed him to endure financial ruin, countless rejections, and the ridicule of bankers who could not see what he saw. But he saw it so vividly that eventually the world was forced to see it too. So I ask you, Do you see your vision with such detail that it burns in your mind like a memory already lived? Or do you treat your goals like fragile dreams, easily broken, easily abandoned? Millionaire thinking demands clarity. Write it, speak it, imagine it, refuse to let it blur. Once clarity is established, purpose must follow. For without purpose, wealth becomes empty, success becomes hollow, and even fortune becomes a curse. Purpose is what transforms wealth into legacy. Purpose is what makes sacrifice worthwhile, discipline bearable, and failure nothing more than a stepping stone. Carnegie did not simply desire wealth. He desired to reshape industry and later to give his fortune away for libraries and education. Lincoln's purpose was not power, but unity. Ford's purpose was not merely profit, but progress, to put the world on wheels, and it was purpose that gave them strength when obstacles would have broken lesser men. If you want to think like a millionaire, ask yourself not only what you want, but why you want it. Is your desire tied to something greater than yourself? Is it connected to a cause that will outlast your lifetime? Because when the why is great enough, the how bends to your will. But even clarity and purpose mean nothing without discipline. Here lies the great divide, the place where most dreams die. Discipline is the bridge between desire and destiny. Millionaires understand this. They do not wait for motivation. They do not ask whether they feel like working. They rise, they act, they execute, whether the emotion is there or not. They know that emotion follows motion, that consistency creates momentum, and momentum creates miracles. Discipline is why Edison endured 10,000 failures. Discipline is why Ford built again after bankruptcies. Discipline is why Disney kept creating after betrayal and collapse. Discipline is why every millionaire, every visionary, every world changer stands apart from the sea of mediocrity. So you must ask yourself, will you master discipline or will you remain a slave to your feelings? Because feelings are fleeting, but discipline is destiny, and yet action is where all these elements converge. Millionaires do not live in theory, they live in execution. They know that thought without action is daydreaming. They move fast, they move bold, they move consistently. They understand that imperfect action is infinitely more valuable than perfect inaction. They test, they fail, they adapt, they move again. While others wait, millionaires create. This is why opportunities seem to find them. It is not chance. It is the byproduct of constant action. When you move forward every day, you create collisions with opportunity. You place yourself in the path of fortune. You learn from failure. You gather feedback. You sharpen your strategy. The world rewards motion, not hesitation. And do not mistake gratitude as weakness. Millionaires practice gratitude as power. They understand that wealth without appreciation is poverty of the soul. Gratitude sharpens the vision, fuels resilience, and multiplies abundance. When you give thanks for what you have, you invite more into your life. Gratitude turns scarcity into sufficiency and sufficiency into surplus. Adaptability follows close behind. No plan survives the battlefield unchanged. Millionaires are not rigid, they are resilient. They bend without breaking, adjust without surrendering, learn without losing sight of the vision. They know that storms will come, economies will fall, industries will shift, but those who adapt rise again. Rockefeller built during chaos. Jobs returned after exile. Musk thrived where others doubted. Adaptability is not compromise, it is strategy. Resilience, too, is non-negotiable. Fortune tests those who chase it. It throws failure, loss, rejection, betrayal. The masses collapse under the weight, but the millionaire mind interprets these not as signs to quit, but as proof that they are close to the prize. They see resistance as confirmation that their dream matters. They transform pain into fuel, setback into strategy, and defeat into determination. And through it all, they remain students. Learning is the secret weapon. Millionaires never believe they know enough. They devour books, study mentors, analyze mistakes, refine strategies. They remain humble enough to learn, but confident enough to apply. Knowledge unused is wasted, but knowledge applied is power. Now ask yourself, Do you live this way? Do you believe with conviction, define with clarity, burn with purpose, act with discipline, execute with speed, give with gratitude, adapt with resilience, and learn without pride? Or do you drift, hoping for luck, surrendering to fear, clinging to comfort while the clock drains your life? Because here is the unshakable truth. You are thinking your way into a destiny right now. Every thought is a seed, every decision a stroke of the chisel carving your future. The millionaire thinks in wealth, and so wealth appears. The masses think in fear, and so fear multiplies. The question is not whether you are creating, it is whether you are creating consciously. Do not deceive yourself. Thinking like a millionaire is not about greed, nor is it about chasing symbols of wealth. It is about mastering yourself. It is about creating a mind so disciplined, so precise, so unshakable that the world bends under its pressure. Money, influence, freedom, these are only reflections of the mind that created them. The true prize is mastery, for mastery is what separates the mediocre from the immortal. The mediocre live as slaves to their emotions, their excuses, their circumstances. They bend at the first sign of difficulty, but the masters, the millionaires, are forged in fire. They command themselves in moments of weakness. They stand tall when storms rage. They discipline their words, their actions, their habits, until every fiber of their being points toward greatness. Napoleon Hill once wrote that riches begin with a state of mind, with definiteness of purpose, with little or no hard work. Do you understand what this means? It means that wealth is not reserved for those born into fortune. It is reserved for those who claim it with their mind before they ever touch it with their hands. The battle is won before it is fought. The fortune is earned before the money arrives. Consider this. The same 24 hours that pass through your hands each day also pass through the hands of every billionaire, every innovator, every leader. The difference is not in time, it is in thought. While the masses think of survival, the millionaires think of creation. While the masses think of fear, the millionaires think of possibility. While the masses react, the millionaires design. And here is where you must awaken. Stop measuring your life by what others are doing. Stop comparing, competing, shrinking to fit into molds made by society. You are not here to copy. You are here to create. Millionaires do not waste their mind on jealousy, gossip, or competition. They pour it into invention, vision, execution. They understand that the only race worth running is against the limits of their own potential. Imagine for a moment if Edison had compared himself to other inventors, deciding he was too far behind to matter. Imagine if Lincoln had compared himself to rivals, concluding he was too defeated to rise again. Imagine if Disney had looked at the successes of others and told himself there was no room left for his dream. The world would be darker, emptier, less alive. But they did not compare. They created, and that creation changed history. So focus on yourself, not in selfishness, but in purpose. Wake each morning not asking, what do others expect of me, but asking, what will I create today that moves me closer to my vision? Guard your mornings like treasure, for they shape your days. Guard your thoughts like gold, for they shape your life. Guard your purpose like fire, for it shapes eternity. There is a law you cannot escape. Energy flows where attention goes. What you dwell on expands. What you feed grows. If you feed fear, fear will consume you. If you feed excuses, excuses will multiply. But if you feed vision, discipline, gratitude, and action, your life will expand until it exceeds the boundaries you once thought possible. This is not theory. It is life's unchanging principle. And now, the truth you must accept. The gap between average and fortune is not miles wide, it is inches. It is the inch between quitting and continuing, the inch between doubt and belief, the inch between hesitation and action. Most people live on the wrong side of that inch. They quit too soon, they doubt too often, they hesitate too long. Millionaires win because they cross it again and again until crossing it becomes their nature. Look at history's giants. Edison crossed it when he tried again after failure number 9,999. Lincoln crossed it when he rose again after defeat number 8. Ford crossed it when he demanded the impossible from his engineers until the V8 engine was born. Disney crossed it when he borrowed yet another dollar to chase a vision no one else could see. They were not different from you. They simply refused to stop at the inch that kills the dreams of ordinary men. So here is your call. Decide. Decide what you want. Decide why you want it. Decide that nothing, no setback, no opinion, no fear will stop you. Because once decision is made, the world begins to shift. Doors open, people appear, opportunities align, not by magic, but by the law that the mind, once fixed on a clear purpose, pulls into existence the resources to fulfill it. Do not wait for the perfect time. There is no perfect time. Do not wait for certainty. Certainty is born through action, not before it. Begin where you are with what you have and move. Take the first step, however small, and then the next. Consistency, not intensity, builds empires. A brick a day becomes a fortress. A decision a day becomes a destiny. And never forget, the mind that creates wealth must also create resilience. Fortune tests you not to destroy you, but to prove you. Every setback is a question. How badly do you want this? Every obstacle asks, will you stop here or will you rise higher? The world does not hand riches to the unprepared. It delivers them only to those who endure long enough to earn them. Think like a millionaire and you will live as one. Think small and life will shrink to fit your thoughts. Think bold, and life will expand until it astonishes even you. That is the secret. That is the law. That is the truth. And when your mind is mastered, when your vision is clear, when your purpose is burning, when your discipline is unbreakable, then wealth, freedom, and success will not merely be possible, they will be inevitable. So rise. Rise each morning as though destiny waits for your command. Think thoughts so powerful they demand reality to shift. Take actions so consistent, they leave failure no room to breathe. Live with such clarity and conviction that the world cannot ignore you. This is how the millionaires think. This is why you must too. For your future, your freedom, your fortune are all waiting on the battlefield of your mind. Win there, and you win everywhere.